President Uhuru Kenyatta this morning attended the ongoing Global Environment Conference taking place in Gigiri here in Nairobi. Well, he pledged his government's commitment to protecting the environment, citing the ban on plastic papers. The president said he would increase funding to support UNEP programs.
Not problem-free to make an effort like this. Let's learn from it and see how other nations can learn from that. Moving towards the end, looking ahead, what we really need is the political leadership Kenya, Rwanda, China, India, France, Germany and others provided. With that leadership, we can basically get everything done. If we allow someone to divide us, we will fail. If we work together, we will succeed. So we should always be in this global togetherness. Together we can resolve the pollution problem. Separately, we will fail. But leadership is key. Bold action is key, not just talks in UN conferences, but bold action at home. Maybe at some point we will need global instruments, global pacts. We need a global pact on plastic at some point, but starting point is at home. What we as business, civil society and governments do in our own nation, then we move on to the broader perspective. I also tell you, I won't mention any company or any civil society organization here now, but without the dedication of so many individuals and so many companies, we will not be there. I just mentioned one, Afroz Shah, Mumbai. He just watched the horribly polluted beaches of Mumbai. He did not call his member of parliament or his prime minister or anyone else. He just went down to the beach and started picking plastic. In the beginning, there were 2. Then there were hundreds. Then there were thousands. Now this has continued for more than 100 consecutive weeks. The other day, he got into some trouble because some hooligans and goons starting.
We in Kenya have learned the lessons and have taken appropriate mitigating actions. And let me say a few words about what we in Kenya have done. As the Executive Director mentioned, some months ago, after 3 attempts, we managed to ban the manufacture, sale, or use of plastic carrier bags. The ban was backed by fairly severe measures, as one might expect, given the gravity of pollution by plastic in this region's land, air, water, and marine ecosystems. The ban may seem only a small step, but in fact, it has already cut plastic pollution substantially in Kenya. Equally important has been its positive effect on public opinion. What the ban has held is proof that we do not have to give in to pollution.
All right, I want us to just speak to my colleague, George Maringa, who has been following up on this particular assembly since yesterday. Good afternoon, George. Let's talk about the solid discussions or decisions that have been made, because the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, has said he would increase funding to support UNEP programs. But what would this funding cater to? What solid decisions can you say have been made so far in this conference? So, like, it's not just about talk, but there's actually practical measures that will be taken to ensure that, you know, here in Kenya, we actually conserve the environment.
Good afternoon to you, Betty. Yes, as you rightly put it, this morning President Uhuru Kenyatta attended the United Nations Environmental Assembly high-level segment, and he officially launched this morning, accompanied by the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the President of the Republic of Guyana. And part of what these presidents, or rather these high-level officials and heads of state and government were emphasizing is the increasing funding to curb environmental hazards and to to battle with climate change. And President Uhuru Kenyatta was lauded by his colleague presidents for initiating the plastic ban the plastic ban that was effected a while ago here in the country. It is something that has earned Kenya accolades all over the sessions. Betty, if I could mention, there are quite a number of sessions happening here at Gigiri. A few minutes after this, probably in the next 20 minutes, will be a session on the role of the youth in sustainable development. So these are some of the issues that will be discussed by panelists and stakeholders, as well as the government with the Ministry of Environment here in Kenya, discussing the role of funding. And I am now joined by one Mr. Eraja from Morocco to speak to us about the role of the private sector, even as the government continues to fund. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, sir.
What exactly do you do in Morocco now that you represent the private sector trusts and foundations?
Yes. So thank you for this interview. We are in the private sector to present some innovations of wastewater treatment. So we bring some simple and very easy tools of wastewater treatment for institutionals. So we have some plants, compact plants in containers that treat like small villages and the medium city. So and we are based actually between France, Morocco, and we want to expand our business in East Africa via Kenya, because we know that it's a gate of East African market. So and for it's a base point for ONU. So
do you welcome this idea of funding by the government to help fight environmental and climate change?
Yes, we do, because actually our work it doesn't have any meaning if the government don't follow us. So now we see that many governments, African governments, are following this policy of at least in water. Now we see different programs in wastewater treatment. So and that's a good sign. And I see that there is some projects in Kenya, and we want to contribute to that with our company Cohen Environment. Yes.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Eraja from Morocco giving us a perspective of the private sector in curbing environmental and climate change. Betty, these are some of the discussions that are going on here at the UNEP headquarters in Gigiri, Nairobi, and we will be following up this conference, this third session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly. Back to you, Betty.
All right, thank you very much, George Maringa there reporting from Gigiri. All right, so we want to take a short commercial break. We're coming back in a few moments. We'll also be having a discussion, really. The Center for Multi-Party Democracy today has called on the presidency to form an inclusive government, and we'll be speaking to the chair right here on News Desk.